of all sizes, bridging the highest echelons of businesses and governmental worlds together, stimulating economic opportunities and positively affecting public policy of governments around the world. For anyone who had the opportunity to be at an OJC event in the United States or to be at the Parnassa Expo, it's quite inspiring. And Duvi, we all know how much you have on your plate, and we really appreciate you understanding the need of establishing the OJC here in Israel and taking the time to come to the second side of the globe and start it over here. When Gidon was talking about housing in Israel, I think it's a good message. He's going to provide housing, which hopefully will reduce the prices, which means we can have a lot of aliyah. But the job starts here, providing jobs and opportunities for all those who make aliyah. And Duvi, thank you for coming here and sharing with us your expertise of how we can make it happen. Duvi Honi.
Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction, Yehuda. I still see there's a big crowd outside. The networking is so powerful that we have like a tremendous amount of people networking outside and a full house inside. Baruch Hashem. I'm not here to preach, but to give ideas, but to tell people what to do or how to do. I'm here to tell people about success, how success happens. People always judge and ask, how many people did you help? Who did you help? Where did you help? Do you have statistics? And a lot of organizations who focus on specific areas really focus on those numbers. It's a no-brainer that when you go out there and you unite the Jewish world, the Jewish business world, what today reflects beyond the Jewish business world, because we hosted a tremendous expo at the Javits Center and the New York Hilton, and many other events where the minority were Jewish people, and empowered so many, is through building networks. Now, every person's network is their net worth. In the recession, I undertook to start putting together what I thought was a simple thing, different groups and networks that eventually would be able to interact between themselves like a puzzle, and I'll be able to walk away. But little did I know that that's not the way it works. Going fast forward, 8-9 years later, there isn't a Jewish community in the globe that there aren't people who weren't helped through our network, through the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, through Parnassa Network, through any part of our organization, women in the workforce. We have divisions. We are like the only organization that focuses in every area of livelihood. And we use the strength of commerce to influence public policy. And Baruch Hashem, we're very successful in that. And we're the only group, there isn't even non-Jewish groups, who have such a strength of a global commerce to influence public policy. And you're not talking about just the one country and beyond. So, after helping so many Yidden Baruch Hashem in Eretz Yisrael, and being reached out again and again, having a lot of people coming to our events, flying in, Skyping them into our training events, flying into different programs we had and events, empowering, starting up businesses, networking, online, offline, etc., etc. I decided, that's it, I'm going to put it on my LinkedIn, We want to open for Anglo-Israeli American people to help in Eretz Yisrael. We're ready to go. Now, a lot of people today, I spoke to business leaders, including a lot of big politicians or heads of companies, they don't even know what LinkedIn is. Now, I'm not here to speak about social media platforms or cute tweets that get you attention. I'm talking about success. I put on my LinkedIn that we want to open up and form a committee. I can't tell you if it was, how long it took, how many hours, but I could tell you with under 4 hours our committee was formed. With under 4 hours, response from Yehuda Freilich, Penina Eichler, Nachum Kligman, Chaim Hirsch, Rabbi Simon Ginsberg, Yaakov Lerfeld, Avi Avalo, and Jerry Stotch, and many more who I declined because I didn't want to start with such a big committee right away. And you know what the beauty is? That all these people live over here in Eretz Yisrael, and all these people knew of our organization and were helped by our organization. And that is a priceless feeling to know that you can reach out on LinkedIn and have a response from people who not just know who you are, who want to be there, but were helped by you and understand what you're doing. So, time is money. Your network is your net worth. Now it's your choice. If you're in sales, if you're looking to be able to build anything, reach out to anyone who can help you in any area. And you don't utilize your network, especially business people, and you don't have a LinkedIn account up to date and have connections with people who could see your bio instantly, know who you are, don't have to waste time having a meeting with you and emails and back and forth, and able to send a message. They're looking for specific network, to a specific area of expertise, and have people reply to them and respond to them, and find people who can help and direct them, or be service providers. Saves companies money, a lot of money and a lot of time. I feel, especially over here in Eretz Yisrael, and even in America, a lot of people don't understand what the strength of networking is. When I started Parnassa Network, we're going to the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, what became the umbrella. People thought, so what do you do, computers? They didn't even know what networking was about. Until today, I met a guy on Shabbos. He was by me 9 years ago, and he was in the recession, and he started a specific business. And he couldn't get any clients. And there was a lot of competition because it was a brokerage type of business. So I sweat, and I got him his first 3 things to be able to get on the market, and got his name out there. And he didn't make the sales, but from there he had a name. And I was speaking to him, and he said, so tell me again, Dewey, so what exactly do you do? People don't have to get it to be able to see how you're helping them or how they could be helped. They don't have to understand what medicine they take, how it works. They don't understand when they start the car in the morning. They don't look under the hood to see if the engine's working. They don't doubt it. They put in the key and it drives. We're very used to that. But it doesn't undermine the strength of networking. Whether you do understand what the strength of networking is, or you don't know how to network, do know how to network, you must be able to have a basic LinkedIn profile and be able to connect and start building out and have relationships with people that you can reach, from CEOs, from bigger companies, that people you can't reach through a phone and being able to be out there and being able to build networks for yourself. Now aside, I'm going to finish with this note, aside of LinkedIn, every person doesn't realize how strong and how powerful they are. People don't know who they know. They say, who do I know? What do I know? I don't know anyone. And it's so not true. If you sit down with pen and paper and you see your cousin's this, your brother-in-law's this, your aunt's this, that, and you start realizing how many connections you have, you're able to tap into those and be able to build a network and strategize for different opportunities or for different things you're involved in, someone who knows someone who knows someone. And that's what networking is all about. Tonight we're here at a very different stage in Ojcjerusalem. I know there's a lot of networking events in Ojcjerusalem and a lot of hack. But people always complain that it's not structured, there's not takeaways. Baruch Hashem, we had a room of, I thought we'll have 70, I think we had over 150 business leaders from women and men, from America, from Israel, and possibly from other countries, meeting together and being able to interact and get to know each other, exchange cards, and form connections that I myself, it's impossible to keep up with the talented people, the meetings that 3-4 days I'm going to be here with, but I look forward to being in touch with them. And everyone over here feels the same. To finish off, just a little information. There's going to be a JBNF meeting in Jerusalem about the California, Mexico, Israel Expo, what we're co-hosting. It's on January 24th. It's going to be in Harchot Svim. What time?
At 1 to 3 o'clock.
1 to 3 o'clock.
But by invitation.
It's by invitation. People can reach out to me if they're interested in our Israel Innovation Expo, what we're hosting. It's on the West Coast. We're hosting the Cali Israel Expo. Thank you. And there's going to be a lot of investors and a lot of Israeli companies who want to display their innovation. Tesla Foundation is going to be there, and we're going to have also people. So we're affiliated with the Israeli government, the economic ministry, and we're going to have businesses who want to display over there Israeli innovation. We're going to have groups with $15 million and more willing to invest in certain specific technology or water or any other new type of things that could be of value to interest to those specific investors. And there's more information over here at the papers. And then of course we have our JBIZ Expo, our annual JBIZ Expo. What takes place, it's going to be June 5th this year. Quite a few businesses in the room come in every year. And it's the largest Jewish business expo and conferences that businesses connect from all over the world and able to, service providers to be able to connect and be empowered and make new connections. This is the Innovation Expo that's going to be taking place in Mexico, March 19th, 21, and 22. And there's more information of papers over here. And this is besides all the other events and conferences and networking events we have. So the key is networking. I advise everyone to educate themselves on networking. I was recently featured in the Forbes magazine explaining people how to network properly. And I advise you to go online, Google networking, how do you network, what's the proper ways, because that's where you save time. If you weed out all the people who you waste time with, who you think are going to deliver, and you learn how to avoid them and not put your hope and trust and time in them, because usually those are the people who keep on giving you the spin arounds. Then you have the guy with the, with this pants, creased and his shirt half out, but he's passionate to help you, and he'll call up his uncle, who he's not ashamed, he has no class, he's great, he's not a formal type of guy with a head tie and all this formality, and he'll turn over the world to get you that meeting. So it has nothing to do about disguise. It has nothing to do about being professional, speaking professional. I walked right around tonight with my own camera taking pictures. People are telling me, "Louis, don't do it." I don't care. You know, you do what you got to do. You network, find out how to do it, spend time if you don't know how to do it, and that's the way to be successful. And that's how our committee formed, through one post on LinkedIn. So I thank you all for coming tonight. And at this time, I'd like to call up our ambassador of the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, who was just with us a week ago in Lakewood, New Jersey, inspired so many, Rabbi Yisama Ginsburg.
First, I'd like to thank Rabbi Honig. Give him a round of applause. Thank you, Rabbi Avi Abelo, for the live video stream for all those watching through that little device. I don't know how many people in this room remember, there used to be something called PK Unzip. PK Unzip was a computer program that when you had a file that was really big, you wanted to make it smaller so it could fit on a floppy disk. Anyone know what a floppy disk is? Then essentially you use this program, either in DAS, you type pkzip with the file, the C:/ till you got the path to the file. Or later in Windows, you have WinZip, which is something like it, a little better version. So you take the file, you drop it in, and it makes it has a picture of like a clamp, as if it's smashed into something smaller. And they used to have an ad for PKZip, and the ad was a third of a page, had thick black dashes all around, and it said, "This ad used to be a full page." It was an ad for PKZip because they took a full page and made it a third of a page. The reason I thought that ad was very strong, the reason I remember it so many years later, is because they only had to spend money to get a third of a page advertisement, and they managed to have everyone look at it as if it was a full page advertisement. And whenever I had to do something in a shortened amount of time, I look at it that way, like, okay, this used to be a longer speech, but based on the time I've been given, we'll have to make a shorter version of it. Two small points about what Abduvi said before. One is that people underestimate how much money there is in any given room. It's not only the people here, obviously, it's the people that they know. And you'd be very surprised to find out just who the people next to you know and who they're connected to. Sometimes think of how many people in this room. There's something called the power of 5, which essentially is everyone in the world knows everybody else within 5 people, right? So if you go from me to Kim Jong-un, so who do we both know in common? Maybe nobody direct. Anyone here know him, by the way? We could make it shorter. Okay? But I certainly know someone who knows, okay, I know David knows Donald Trump got to know somebody who knows Kim Jong-un, right? So, something like that. In the frum world, sorry, that makes you closer to him than I am. So. But essentially, in the frum world, we have that even closer. In the wider world, people who make the same kind of money, who live in the same kind of neighborhood, pretty much spend time together. So the only time somebody from one area might spend time with another area is if he's the janitor in a building where that guy's a CEO, and they meet in the hallway for a second. But other than that, they don't really interact with each other. In the frum world, people go to shul, people have cousins, neighbors, people go to different neighborhoods for Shabbos. There's much more of an ability to connect with other people who are in very different parts of our world, which can really help people network with each other. The other thing is the following. My first day in mortgages, which is going back now about 17 years, I'm going into mortgages, so I'm going to be a mortgage broker. So what do you do when you go into a business? You make a list of who do you know that's already in that business. I'm going to sell to them. So I have a brother-in-law whose father owns a hotel on 13th Avenue, the Avenue Plaza Hotel on 13th Avenue, 47th Street in Borough Park. So my first day on the job, maybe it was my second day, I don't want to be magazim, I don't want to exaggerate. I called him up and I said, "Hello, yeah, can I speak to Mr. Glick?" "Okay, who's this?" "Summer Ginsburg." "Okay," takes the phone, "Yeah." "Hi, how are you?" "Yeah, I just went into mortgages, I'd like to do a mortgage on your hotel." Oh, very nice. When do you go into mortgages? Where are you working for? Very nice, very nice. Listen, I don't really need a mortgage right now for my hotel, but thank you for calling, and I wish you a lot of atzlacha. One of the things that taught me was, people don't want to deal with someone who's not what they do. No one wants to be the first patient of a heart surgeon. I was once in a hospital with my great uncle, who was almost 100 at the time. He needed to have blood taken, and the nurse took his blood. And then, when she finished, he said, "I just want to thank you. It didn't hurt at all. You know, you're very good at taking blood." And the nurse said, "Thank you, it's my first day." And I'm thinking, no. If you just would have said thank you, he would have felt good. Now he's annoyed that he's almost 100 years old. You give him a nurse first day on the job to take his blood. You know, is he a carbon? So whenever you are going into a new business, you always want, you have to say the truth, but at the same time, you never really want to say, "I open a new business today," or "I'm about to start a new business." If you're looking for connections to make that business happen, it's one thing. But if you're actually looking for leads in that business, you want to have been doing that business at some level, whether it's, I tell people, sometimes about making money, sometimes about getting the experience. I would rather do a free consultation for, nothing personal against anybody here, I'd rather do a free consultation for a janitor at Citibank than for the CEO of Tom's Trucking. Because when I do it for the CEO of Tom's Trucking, it's just a random guy. A janitor at Citibank, it says, Joe Smith, Citibank, then I get the basking and reflected glory of the Citibank brand. So every time you do something, there's a different reason for it. If you're trying to get into a new business, it's good to do it, whether as a volunteer, whether for free in some way, so that you can actually go into the business already knowing something about it, not being brand new and wet behind the ears at it. When someone is busy in business, this applies to service businesses more than product businesses often, but it applies to both. What happens is like this: "Hello, can I have a free consultation?" Many businesses offer free consultations. The problem with a consultation, which is a free consultation, is the following. If the guy is giving you a free consultation, it means he's free. It's a free consultation. He's got free time. If he has free time, he's not busy. If he's not busy, he's not good at what he does. If he was good at what he does, he'd be busy. So if he gives me a free consultation, besides the fact maybe I'll take it because it's free, he has a much harder time trying to sell me something, because if he was good, he'd be busy. If he's busy, he wouldn't give me a free consultation. The fact that he's doing a free consultation means he's not busy, means he's not good, so why would I hire him? If I would hire him, I'm not going to pay him the price he's asking, because if he's worth the price he's asking, make the same thing again, same cheshbon. If he was the price he's asking, and he'd be worth that price, he'd be busy at that price, he wouldn't be giving free consultations, chagadi, we go around the whole thing again. So it's better to be sitting at home by yourself. They teach podiatrists, they teach dentists, all kind of doctors, that when you have 3 clients, when you open your practice, you hang out your shingle, you have 3 clients, you schedule them all for Thursday afternoon. One for 4 o'clock, one for 4:15, and one for 4:30. So that when the 4:15 person comes in, there's somebody in the chair. When the 4:30 person comes, somebody in the waiting room and somebody in the chair. And everyone feels better when it's busy than when it's not busy. I once explained to a group that when a store has fast music playing, people go faster through the store. When they have slow music playing, people go slower. So everyone knows that when a store is busy, you want people to get out of there, it's Erev Shabbos, fast music. When it's nice and slow music, people will stay longer. What they don't think about is the second step of that. If I go into a store, and the store is empty, and the person says, "Can I help you?" First of all, I feel creeped out. There's nobody in the store besides me and the person on the counter, so I'm going to leave. But when there's slow music playing, and I'm in the store, and I spend those extra few seconds there because the music is slower and therefore I'm walking slower, when the next person walks in, they see me, not just the person who owns the store, and therefore they're more likely to stay there, not just because the music is slower, but because the actual feeling is better, because there's more people going around the room. Now, one word about social media. This is one of my favorite quotes. If you ever heard me speak, you probably heard me say this quote. Social media is only free if time has no value.
Absolutely.
So, for all the mechatuna who think that they go on social media and they spend 50 hours there and they get a client and they're so excited with themselves, see, I don't have to pay for advertising, I don't have to network, I just have to sit there on Twitter and go blah, 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 enter, and business comes. By the time you figure out the last 50 hours that you spent of your life trying to make that sale happen, the $10 in profit you got off that sale, you realize it wasn't so kedai to try to do it all yourself, and it's not always a good idea to do. Everyone thinks, okay, new business, you have to be on social media. Where should I go? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. How do I do this? What do I do? Not every kind of business has to be on every kind of social media. And especially if you're trying to manage your time properly, you should see which forms of social media work for your business and which ones don't. When somebody's looking to buy a camera, they go to Google, they type in, I'm not a camera guy, what camera do you have? Nikon what? D7100? Nikon D7100. No. Okay, shh. Yeah, she has a different camera. Okay, that's fine. Somebody comes and they're looking for this camera, they type those words on Google. It's fair to say that this person is looking for more information about this camera, wants to buy this camera, potentially, and so on. When someone goes on social media, they're not looking to buy anything. They're looking to see what their shviga had for lunch. Okay? And if you happen to have an ad set for a camera, the chances of that ad converting are not very high because the person's not there for that. It's very different, Google ad versus Facebook ads. There are many things that work very well in Facebook ads. Trying to make a networking event like this, a Facebook ad might be wonderful for you, especially if it says which of your friends are going to be attending that event on the bottom. It gives you a certain social insight into why you should also attend. Now, some tips about how to manage your time better. Whenever you're trying to call someone you don't want to talk to, call from two phones at the same time. Whichever one goes to voicemail, you keep. Whichever one rings, you hang up. You leave the guy a message and you're done. I can't say the same for all the Heimische newspapers, but the general newspapers, which are properly written, are written with something called reverse funnel language. Reverse funnel language means that if you ever watch or you ever read any newspaper and it goes like this: earthquake in Zimbabwe kills 700 people. And at the end of that article, without fail, the last three paragraphs will say the following: the last earthquake in Zimbabwe occurred in 1997 when 400 people got killed and whatever, and so on and so forth. Question: what does that previous mudslide have anything to do with what happened now? Why is that in the newspaper? What does one have to do with the other than the fact that they're sort of about the same type of event? And the answer is, because what happens if 10 minutes before this newspaper has to go to print, some major news happens, which is now going to overtake the front page. So I don't know who, someone gets assassinated, and they have to change the headline, have to change the front page. What happens to the rest of the paper? They can't start rewriting the whole paper because of it. So what they simply do is they delete the last 3-4 paragraphs of every article, which suddenly makes a lot more space in the paper to write what they want to write. The reason why that works is because the paper is actually written most important, less important, even less important, even less important, unimportant. So the more space I need on page 1, the more I have to delete from the bottom up, and I can delete it. I can always pretty much delete it safely. It's never going to be in the middle of something as I delete paragraphs. So whenever you're reading, again, not a Heimische paper because no guarantees there, but if you're reading a different paper, if you're ever reading an article that you see is not relevant to you, don't feel you have to read till the end because your brain wants to finish what you start. That's a whole schmooze of itself about the Zeigarnik effect. But you can always stop reading wherever you are because you know the rest of it will not be as important as you read till now. If it has an interesting till here, it's not going to be important further. So you each just made an extra hour. You have 25 hours every day right now for the rest of your life because you just saved all that time you were spending reading things that weren't so interesting to you. Life insurance salespeople are taught, if you say, I'm going to close 3 deals today, you have a problem. The reason why is because you don't control how many deals you're going to close today. You may close 5 deals, you may close 0 deals. You don't actually know, you're not in control of that. That's something that obviously with Let Us Say After the Shmaya is in control of the person who you're trying to sell to. But a goal that you do control is, I'm going to make 100 phone calls today. I'm going to reach out to X number of people today. And therefore, since you pick a goal you can actually accomplish, and you accomplish that goal, you feel much better about yourself, which propels you further. When you pick a goal you don't control, at the end of the day, you get really discouraged. What did I do today? I didn't close any business. Separately from that, when a person's trying to sell insurance, for example, and they make 100 phone calls, those 100 phone calls lead to 3 meetings, and those 3 meetings lead to 0 sales. So then they look at themselves and they say, what I did didn't work. But that's not true. When you start isolating, if the 100 phone calls got you 3 meetings, then the phone calls did work, they got you meetings. Now, either you're not a good closer, which is a possibility, which means the second part is what needs to be changed or tweaked, or it's possible you forgot to ask people, how old are you, when you tried to sell them insurance. So if it turns out the 3 people you met are all 107 years old, and they all want to buy insurance, but they're ineligible because they're too old, then it means you have to go back to step one and change step one so that you don't end up, in Yiddish they say verplantet. You don't end up in step two having people that can't actually buy what you're selling. There's a great book by Eli Goldratt, a famous book, probably published in the 1980s, called The Goal. And he discusses in this book essentially what we have Waze today, the GPS app Waze, where if everyone's driving this traffic, what it does, it basically distributes the traffic to get you to go a different way, so you end up on some side street. You're like, I could be on the highway, I'm on some little street with red lights. So when you understand that ultimately this is helping you go faster because it's getting you around that bottleneck, it's taking you someplace else, it really helps. So essentially this book is about, I highly recommend this book, it's called The Goal. I'm not giving you my Amazon link with my attached affiliate ID, so it's totally lishma. If you don't know what I just said, ask me afterward. And I'll send you an email link to buy the book. But essentially, when you look at what you're doing, you start isolating piece by piece. Okay, how am I getting clients? Once I get the clients, what am I doing with the clients? How long are they sticking around? Why didn't that client stick around? The more you can isolate it piece by piece, the more you can find the bottlenecks in the business, and the more you can actually tweak those to help the whole business succeed. Everybody knows about, I'm assuming, about the 80-20 rule, which is that 80% of your problems come from 20% of your customers, which means also that 20% of your customers give you 80% of your problems, which means if you get rid of those 20% of your customers, you get rid of 80% of your problems, it makes life a lot simpler. People don't necessarily think about it, that if I take the 80-20 rule and I cut away 20% of my clients, give me 80% of my problems, I then have a new group, and I can then do 80-20 again to get rid of the next 80% of my problems, which means I really, really optimize the people I'm working with, that I should have as few headaches as possible. The goal of a business, if it's a business, is supposed to be to make the owner wealthy. Otherwise, it's not really a business as much as maybe a good paying job. Somebody once explained to me that when you're competing with a Chinese person to buy a business, you're never going to win on price. And it's not because they have more money than you, it's because when a Jewish person buys a business, he's looking to make money. When a Chinese person buys a business, he's looking for a job from which he can't be fired. So if he can make $800 a week working for somebody else, or he can make $800 a week by buying his own business, he's delighted to buy his own business because he knows if he works for somebody else, he might end up without a job. If he has his own business, he's always going to be making the money. Since one of us won't buy a business to work much harder for the same amount that it might be to work for somebody else, it ends up that you kind of end up with an imbalance there. They're willing to pay more than we are. Now, as I said before, social media is only free if time has no value. The same thing is true for those of you who have smartphones, for most of those apps on your smartphone. I used to be on Facebook. I actually didn't plan to say this. I gave it up a year ago. It's going to be a year and a week. No applause. What's the matter with you? Thank you. And when I had Facebook, when I got it, I felt it was important for business. I was getting a lot of business out of it. But as time went on, and I saw how much it was becoming busier and busier with shtusim and more time wasting, I simply deleted my account, and I can honestly say I have a lot more free time and time to think since then. Somehow I didn't manage to sleep more hours because I don't have it anymore, but I guess more stuff gets done outside of that than was getting done before. Quote from Thomas Edison, and I'll finish with this. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Okay? I don't think I have to translate that. Basically, in my own words, they say about Thomas Edison as well, but the quote's probably not from him. That I found 99 ways or 499 ways to make the light bulb not work. But essentially, in business, especially when someone's self-employed, there's constantly that feeling of doubt. Should I keep doing what I'm doing? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Everyone thinks they're the only one who has these doubts, and everyone else around them seems to be, flying high and mighty. But every person inside goes through these doubts and wonders if they're doing the right thing. They say it's very, very lonely at the top. My great-grandmother, Leah Shalom, was 105 when she was nifter. And when she was over 100, I believe, she told me, she said, at this age, I have no friends. I have no one to talk to. I'm at the top, and I have children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and they all look up to me. But when I need to talk to somebody, I don't have that friend that I can talk to. So it's just important to hang in there, and with the Eibishter's help, you'll be matzliach. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Istamar, for a great speech. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a pleasure. And we'll be in touch with Rat Hashem regarding the next event. Thank you, and Laila Tov, Shavua Tov. Anyone wants to daven Ma'ariv, we're daven over here.
Thank you very much.